Senate on Tuesday amended Section 60 of the Electoral Act to allow presiding officers at polling units to electronically transmit election results to the Independent National Electoral Commission's result viewing portal. The decision came during an emergency plenary session with Senate President Godswill Akpabio outlining the procedure for the new system. The amendment, approved as Clause 60, subsection 3, follows a motion by Senate Chief Whip Mohammed Monguno seeking to reverse the Senate's earlier rejection of real-time electronic transmission. With the new amendment, the presiding officer may transmit results electronically where technology allows, but in the event of technical failure, the signed form EC8A will remain the authoritative source for collation and announcement. Nigeria has slipped 2 places to 142nd position out of 182 countries and territories in the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index released by Transparency International (TI) on Tuesday, extending the country's long-standing poor showing on the global anti-corruption ranking. The country retained a score of 26 out of 100 in the latest index but fell from its 2024 position of 140th. In last year's report, Nigeria was ranked among 180 countries with the same score of 26. The 2025 edition of the index assessed 182 countries and territories based on perceived levels of public sector corruption. Under the TI methodology, scores range from 0, indicating a highly corrupt public sector, to 100, representing very clean governance. Although 2 additional countries were included in the year's ranking, Nigeria's unchanged score meant its overall position declined. Transparency International noted that while 31 countries have made significant progress in reducing corruption since 2012, several others have either stagnated or deteriorated over the same period. Nigeria was listed among countries whose performance has remained weak or worsened. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has issued a firm clarification in response to recent publications attributed to S&P Global, stating that the report misrepresents its operations and create a misleading picture of Nigeria's refining landscape. The company categorically refutes claims amplified through certain newspaper adverts on Monday, February 9, 2026, suggesting that it imports finished premium motor spirit (PMS) into the country. According to Dangote Refinery, the misinformation was appropriately addressed during an S&P Global Forum held today in the United Kingdom. Following the clarification, the forum acknowledged the refinery's pivotal role in reshaping the global refining landscape. In an official statement, the management stressed that the refinery does not import finished PMS, commonly known as fuel or gasoline, into Nigeria, and that it is only pursuing alternative feedstocks to improve its secondary unit utilization. It further disclosed that it has identified the individuals responsible for promoting the misleading narrative and will reveal their identities and motives at the appropriate time. The federal government has ruled out a blanket suspension of mining activities across northern Nigeria, despite calls by northern governors and traditional leaders for a 6-month halt as part of efforts to curb insecurity in the region. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, disclosed this in an exclusive interaction with The Punch on Monday in Abuja, stressing that a total shutdown of mining operations would have grave economic consequences for both the north and the country at large. The minister's position was conveyed through his special assistant on media, Segun Tomori, who said the federal government had carefully weighed the security concerns against the economic realities of ongoing mining and mineral processing activities across the region. He said, the position of the federal government remains that there can't be a blanket suspension of mining activities across the north because it will have far more adverse economic implications for the region and the nation. The commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Ekiti, Mr. Toma Enya, has warned construction companies and contractors to desist from vandalizing fiber optic cables and public properties in the state. Enya issued the warning at a news briefing in his office at the command headquarters in Ado Ekiti on Tuesday. He said that actions that lead to the damage of the cables in any part of the state would no longer be tolerated because it negatively affects communication, connectivity, and seamless wire interactions. Such damage will not be treated lightly, as the command is said to begin an on-the-spot assessment of ongoing projects along optic fiber routes in the state. He described the cables as critical national assets and infrastructure that are pivotal to the socio-economic development of the nation. The Osun State Governor, Ademola Adeleke, has assured residents that his administration is committed to translating increased revenue into tangible improvements across key sectors of the state's economy. Adeleke gave the assurance on Tuesday in Osogbo at the opening of a 3-day retreat on the implementation of the new Tax Act, organized by the Osun State Internal Revenue Service. The retreat was attended by top government officials, private sector operators, and other stakeholders in the state. Represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Teslim Igbalaye, the governor urged participants to approach the engagement with a sense of responsibility and shared purpose, noting that the successful implementation of the new Tax Act was aimed at delivering direct benefits to the people of Osun State. Nigerians are increasingly expressing frustration over soaring apartment rents in the major cities, where 2-bedroom flats now cost far beyond the reach of average earners. In Lagos neighborhoods such as Lekki and Surulere, annual rents for 2-bedroom apartments now average 1.5 million naira to 4 million naira, with upfront payments and agent fees pushing totals to 2.5 million naira to 6 million naira. These figures dwarf the national minimum wage of 70,000 naira per month and exceed the average yearly salaries of 2.75 million naira to 3.4 million naira. Sudden 50 to 70% rent hikes are forcing families to seek concessions, relocate to villages, or share accommodations. The shortage of housing, estimated at 15 to 20 million units nationwide, has compounded the crisis, with critics blaming landlords, agents, and market manipulations for inflating demand, Citizens are calling for rent caps, improved transportation links, and increased housing construction to alleviate pressure, even as the federal government housing strategy seeks to address the deficit.